Football fanatics, get ready. The United Stand pre-season tour is here, powered by One Football, the ultimate app for live scores, transfers and match stats. Download now. No one gets you closer.
It's interesting though. I just want to talk about Hojlund for a moment. On a positive, I am so excited about this signing. I've been excited about it for a very long time. It's exactly the sort of player that Manchester United should be signing. This is a striker for a generation. I'm not saying he's a generational talent. He's a striker for generation. I was saying this last night down the pub. I've not been excited about a striker like this probably since Van Persie, really. And even that was going to be short term. When was the last time we had a striker at this club where you could reasonably say, if he's successful, he could be at the club for the next 5 years? Of course, if he's really successful, he might go Real Madrid in 5 years, but he's 20 years of age. We've got a developmental manager. We've got a striker who's really exciting. We haven't had a striker like this in ages. The Falcaos, the Zlatans, the Ronaldos, the Cavani's were past their best and not going to be here very long. The Igalas, the Weghorsts, the loan deals were just loan deals. We haven't had a striker like this in ages, and you know what? I think we've been deprived. I think we've lost sight of what should be the star of your team. It should be a striker that scores goals that excites you the most. Most teams have that. Spurs fans have it with Harry Kane. Man City fans have it with Rasmus Hojlund. This is what we should have at United, and we haven't had buzz and excitement about a long-term vision striker for a very long time. So I'm really excited about it. Of course it could go wrong. Of course it can go wrong, but I think it's really exciting to have a player like that, and we have been deprived of that for a long time. Hate seeing Sky Sports hating on Hojlund, 9 goals last season, whoop-de-doo, saying what Rashford did, and then following season smashed 30 goals. Well look, Slow Sports News, let's just talk about this for a moment, because look, even James Ducker, who is a Man United correspondent, and I'm not having a pop at James for anything here at all, but what he put there, he actually got a lot of crap in the replies for, but look, I think the angle is just, well, this is what he said. Rasmus Hojlund moved from Copenhagen to Sturm Graz for 1.8 million euros in January last year. 1.8 million euros, 1.8 million euros in January last year. 19 months and 22 goals later, he's joining Manchester United for 70 million euros with add-ons. He could prove a hit, but it's a big gamble, and United have committed £406 million on players under Erik ten Hag. Now, what's your interpretation of a statement like that? That, to me, is about what I'm waking up to this morning. That, to me, is the sort of stuff that we are seeing this morning, where people are basically now almost sharpening the knives for Ten Hag, sharpening the knives for, you know, Man United overspending. And I think that, you know, a few people saying they agree with James. I mean, look, it's interesting, isn't it? Young, hungry development striker is what we need, says Bailey. My excitement for Rasmus Hojlund signing for United is infinite, and I've been excited about this for 2 months. The price is not going to make me change my mind about what I've been saying for the last 2 months about how exciting a talent he is, and Ten Hag's a developmental striker. So the price has got nothing to do with Rasmus Hojlund. So if Rasmus Hojlund was watching, or Erik ten Hag was watching, this and what I'm about to discuss has got nothing to do with the excitement and talent of this player. And he will be backed and he will be supported. 100%. 100%. The business side of this deal, I will acknowledge, and I have to acknowledge, because I have to clarify what I've been saying to you for weeks as well. I don't know what went wrong on the fee on this deal. We've had it rammed down our throat for the last 2 months that we negotiated so well for Mason Mount, that we negotiated so well for Onana. I don't think we did. I think Mason Mount for 55 million was 5 million too much. I think Onana was spot on. I don't think we got them cheap. I don't think we did it quick. We paid around market value over a few weeks negotiating. I don't think I think the players are good, but I don't, from a purely negotiation point of view, it baffled me why people were blowing smoke up the arse of Arnold and Murto. I don't think we did anything spectacular with those deals. I think the players are good, but financially I don't think they're great. Now, Rasmus Hojlund again, fantastic, really excited. But let's talk about the fee. I was told, and obviously I was told a long time ago, that Rasmus Hojlund would sign for United, hotter than the sun, hashtag. But what I was also told, and you're quite right, and a few people tweeted me about last night, you were miles off on the price, Goldbridge. I was miles off on the price because I was told United would pay between 40 and 50 million pounds, which is not 70 million euros, and then add-ons. That's what I was told. And people can go, oh yeah, your sources are shit. That's fine. Haters are going to hate. But the reality is the videos are there, hotter than the sun from end of May, early June. And now he's signed for United. So I know how good the source is. So what went wrong with the price? Well, look, I always said between 40 and 50 million pounds with add-ons is what we would pay. On Wednesday, Fabrizio Romano, you can check the tweets. Man United's bid 50 million euros plus 10 million euros in add-ons. David Ornstein, 50 million euros plus 10 million in euros is United's bid. So what is 50 million euros? It's between 40 and 50 million pounds. So they are very good journalists. I'm not a journalist. I get a bit of information, but they get it every bloody day. Ornstein and Romano are saying 50 million euros plus 10 on Wednesday. I've been saying to you for weeks, 40 to 50 million pounds, which is around 50 million plus 10 in add-ons. Saturday night, we're paying 70 million euros plus 10 in add-ons. So between Wednesday and Saturday, the established media, and also what I'd heard, was 50 million euros plus add-ons. By Saturday night, it's gone up by 20 million euros. You know, it's gone up by about 30%. So, look, do what you want with that information. I don't know. I don't know what you think about it. I don't know why that happened, but we were never negotiating that high. It was always going to be 40, but let's do it in euros. It was always going to be 50 million euros plus 10 in add-ons. It's now 70 million euros plus 10 in add-ons. So it's gone up in 20 million. Atalanta have got a good deal. He's overpriced at that. And I like Hojlund. He's overpriced at 70 million plus 10. It's a lot of money for a 20-year-old. But what I would say is, if he's a success, like I think he will be, that price won't matter. If he's a failure, he would have been laughed at for 50 million euros as much as he'd be laughed at for 70. So ultimately, the money doesn't really matter. Our job is to get behind the player, and that's where we are, and support the player, and that's what we will do. Obviously, you're going to see rivals going overrated, this, that, and the other. I find it quite funny because you know what? When Liverpool spent 80 on Nunez last summer, I didn't say anything about it really. I was like, I think he's a good striker. Ultimately, if he scores the goals, he won't be overpriced. If he flops, he will be overpriced. But other clubs, it's like opinions, isn't it? Everyone's got an arsehole, everyone's got an opinion, and ultimately, if he scores goals, he won't be a flop. If he fails, he will be a flop. So we have overpaid a bit, of course we have. And ultimately as well, I would say that in the space of 3 days, it went up by 20 million euros. But people will tell you our negotiators are good at what they do. Well, I think it's very obvious because you don't have to believe me. You can look at Romano, you can look at Ornstein. In the space of 3 days, we went from 50 million euros to 70 million euros. It's out there. It's out there. And yet people will say, oh, Murta madness. Arnold's doing a great job. Well, we can see what happened there, and I don't think that's great negotiating skills, especially when Rasmus Hojlund is desperate to come to Manchester United. He'd gone to a specific agency to get him a move to Manchester United. We hold all the cards. PSG are out of the race, and yet the price goes up by 20 million euros in 3 days. I think I don't know, and I don't really care, to be honest. Somebody in the chat just said, why do you think the price went up? I haven't really thought about it massively. On the hop, I would say the price has gone up because United are desperate. They're desperate because they need a striker. And I think that's why the price went up. I think they could have gone, we're not going to pay any more than 50 million euros and the player wants to come to us. And they could have dragged it out for a few more weeks. But I think ultimately Ten Hag has said, I haven't had a striker for the whole pre-season. The season starts in 2 weeks. I need a striker. And I think United have realised they fucked up a bit. Let's just get the striker in. I think they could have got him. I think it would have just took a lot longer to grind Atalanta down, and ultimately we needed a striker, so we chucked the 20 million on. I think that's what happened, and I think that's the logical thing.